Okay, it's somewhere around like maybe 1 a.m. in the morning here in Atlanta. I'm up, and this is heavy on my chest, heavy on my heart, heavy on my head, and I need to talk about it. And I'm just gonna go ahead and say what I got to say. It's probably gonna ruffle a few feathers, but that's fine because you ain't a bird if your feathers ain't never been ruffled anyway. So let me just put it out there. I don't know what the hell this obsession is. I don't even know if you call it an obsession, maybe a phenomenon, an epidemic, if you will, with this Masc for Masc. This I only date masculine men. This only want trade, or I don't want a man that's too feminine, or I don't want a girl, or I don't want a C, or I don't want a FAG. Like, I don't know what all of that's about. And I feel like in a lot of ways when a man says that, what he's really saying is, I still haven't healed from the pain of my childhood for being teased or being, perceived as a gay boy. I associate femininity in myself or others with some type of threat, and that scares me. Or just in order to maintain a certain level of safety, I want to align myself with as many heteronormative, heterosexual, straight presenting things as possible so that I don't have to fall into the wayside of being perceived as this, like, quote unquote stereotypical gay. And people mask this as a preference. But what I think people don't really understand about preferences is that preferences oftentimes are influenced by the things that you've seen or have been around in your childhood, good or bad. For example, I find myself to be attracted to men who are a little bit more reserved, who are more solution oriented, who tend to be, more structured, more disciplined type of guys. But the reason why I'm like that is because my dad was that way. My dad's ex-military. And so that's what I grew up seeing. That's how I was raised. And so those types of things appeal to me. So I get it and I relate to it, but I feel like in a lot of ways it's this internalized homophobia that we just address but never really fully move into an accountable conversation situation with. Meaning, there are people out here doing this, saying this in the gay community, other gay men ostracizing, antagonizing, discriminating against, or just, ridiculing more effeminate gay men because they don't fit their preference of being straight presenting. And I really feel like the gag is masculinity is not a personality trait. It's not. In this regard, it's a performance. And the reason why I say it's not a personality trait and it's a performance is because I have been around masculine presenting gay men, meaning they dress like a straight man. They do all the things that you think a straight man would do in public. But when they are in safe spaces, they're acting just as effeminate as their highly flamboyant, expressive, effeminate gay bestie. And I feel like it's a cop-out. And I don't want to be insensitive to the fact that, we live in a world where there are a lot of people who still are not comfortable with homosexuality. We live in the South, although we live in Atlanta. We live in the South, and many of my peers and many of the gay men in our communities when they go back home to their small rural towns or their religious families or, you know, whatever, like they have to show up a certain way so that it isn't perceived that, you know, they've changed or transitioned or, you know, become too comfortable with being gay. I understand the unspoken expectations and status quos that are placed on us, you know, as men who are gay and as men who live in the South and as men who come from religious backgrounds and so on and so forth, right? I get that, and I'm not trying to be dismissive of that. But my issue is that the same men who say they don't like femininity are the same men who embody that when they are hurt, when they are heartbroken, when they're going through pain. And I just want us to sit and ponder on what that means. You know what I mean? Because when you're hurt, when you're heartbroken, when you're going through pain, when you're going through difficult seasons in life, you embody very feminine traits. You don't handle it like a man. And don't get upset with me, because the straight girlies on TikTok are saying it about the straight men too. That everybody's just a little bit too sassy these days. So if that's going to be the case, what I'm trying to say is that femininity is nothing to shy away from. It's nothing to shun people about, especially if you're gay. I always say, I don't know why we trying to walk around here and act like straight men anyway, because the whole point of being gay is that you get to have a little sugar, that you get to be a little sweet spice and everything nice. I don't get it. And it frustrates me because I think that there are a lot of gay men who are living in bondage because they are cosplaying as straight men. And leave it to the straight women. The straight men don't even act like they straight men no more. But that's another conversation for another day. But they're cosplaying as these straight men to be tolerated by people in their own community. So it's like we're already an oppressed group of people. Right? And so we form a community as this oppressed group of people. And not all of us are oppressed, right? Because some of us have very loving and accepting families. But for the majority, right, we could say most. It's safe to say that most of us have received some type of rejection, pushback, criticism about being gay. So we're this oppressed group of people coming together in this space. And then we now create our own systems, our own social statuses and cues and hierarchies. And we then begin to oppress these other people who don't fit into the mold of what we think they should be. I understand that people are going to have preferences. I don't have an issue with that at all. I think I've seen, you know, two masculine men who just so happen to be beautiful couples and they're together. I don't think there's an issue with that at all. I think you love who you love. But I do think that when you are selecting people romantically and sexually solely on the basis of masculinity and completely revoking yourself from any other idea of that with someone who may exude a certain level of femininity, and it may not even be a lot, right? But like some of y'all go so far as to say if they carry a bag or if they wear a Chelsea boot or if they like, I mean the rules are ridiculous. If that's gonna be the case, then we're behind. We're behind. We need to call Miss Frizzle and the Magic School Bus because we are fucking behind. And we've lost our minds. It doesn't make any sense. I just feel like nothing is more masculine than a man being unafraid of telling his real truth. And if you can't live out who you really are, and this is for the men who can't live out who they really are. I'm not talking about DL men. I'm talking about openly gay men who make a decision to go against what feels natural to them, to cosplay as a straight man so that they can be accepted, tolerated, and deemed attractive. So that if you, as an openly gay man, make the choice to do that, that means you're not living your truth. You're still in bondage. I just think that what we have to ask ourselves is, if this is a preference, where does it come from? Is it true desire? Is it conditioning? Is it out of fear? Because we're getting too comfortable with being prejudiced against each other based on shit that just don't really make sense. And we find enough out in the world. So I don't understand why we got to be on Twitter fighting about Masc and Masc. That's stupid to me. To me, it's beneath us. I like to hold us up to a high standard. And I want us to live up to that standard. But I think it is extremely juvenile and elementary for us to be in full-on dialogues about Masc for Masc. I just feel like, and people aren't gonna like when I say this, but let me lean in when I say it. And I'm not being insensitive. I'm being real. There are too many goddamn resources in this world today. There's an entire artificial intelligence system in the palm of your hands that can help you work through everything from the most complex of technical problems all the way down to the simplest, what should I eat today? For any mother trucker to be out here using, oh, well, that's how I grew up, and there are resources to support you in becoming who you fully are. And my frustration with a lot of us, with a lot of people in the gay community, a lot of people in the black community, a lot of people in the world in general, is that we don't utilize our fucking resources. But we love to trauma dump, and we love to trauma bond, and we love to talk about what was done to us and how we couldn't get through it and how it messed us up. But none of us are digging back into our toolbox to use our resources. So we want to be hyper aware of the things that we know are dysfunctional, but we don't want to do anything about them. And I feel like when it comes to the gay community, we lean in so much on our trauma, but we refuse to address it because we allow pride, ego, alcoholism, sex addiction, social media, trends, materialistic items, stuff to get in the way of really doing the real work and the healing and having real and honest conversations with each other. That shit is tired, it's whack, it's old. We all need to grow up. We all need to grow up. Somebody cut the fucking program. Bang on the system. It's stupid. We need to grow up. We need to grow up. There's a difference between a preference and a personality trait. I understand that people are attracted to certain things. If that's your MO, go off. Like I said, I'm talking to the openly gay men who are out here navigating the world as something that they're not, ostracizing, antagonizing, discriminating against their more effeminate gay brothers and sisters, trying to make them feel as if they're not enough because they're more expressive about who they are in a feminine way, but then getting behind the closed doors and doing the same damn thing that their brother and sister has the courage to do and bravery to do out in public. That's whack, that's lame, and that's some bullshit. So if that's you and you're watching this, I hope your heart is heavy. I hope your chest feels hit. I hope you cussing me out right now. Cause you're lame. It's time for that shit to change. It's time for that shit to change. And if y'all ain't gonna change it, then I'm gonna keep motherfucking talking about it until y'all do. Boom. Bam. Gotta go to bed. Y'all have a great night. Bye.